I suppose most of us are rather worried at the thought of air raids. We all hope for the best, of course, but at the same time we ought to prepare for the worst. You were telling me just now, Mr. Expert, that you've had actual experience of incendiary or firebomb.
That's right. And believe me, if only you know what to do, they're not half so terrifying as you might think. The first thing I want you to realize is this. The most likely bombs to be used are the incendiaries. You see, one large bomber can carry as many as 2,000 of these bombs. Mind you, most of them will fall where they do no damage. But even so, in a heavy attack, there will probably be more fires caused than even the thousands of trained regular and auxiliary firemen can attend to in time. Besides, if you tackle an incendiary bomb immediately, you can usually restrict the fire to one room.
What are these incendiary bombs like?
I was just coming to that. Well, they're quite small. As a rule, they weigh about a couple of pounds and are about the same size as a largish hand torch. You know, one of those long cylinder-shaped ones. Now, although they're called bombs, I want you to remember this. They do not explode. But if one does strike the roof, it'll almost certainly penetrate and land in one of the top floor rooms.
And what happens then?
It bursts into flame and burns like fury. For about a minute, you mustn't attempt to get near it, because it shoots out hundreds of sparks of molten metal, which may set light to whatever they fall on. The heat is terrific. After a minute or two, though, it sort of settles down to burn fiercely, but more locally, as it were.
Well, what's the first thing we ought to do, then?
The first and most important thing is to be prepared. Clear the loft or roof space completely. If it's boarded and is strong enough, cover the floor with asbestos or sand. Your warden will gladly advise you on this question of protection. Now for your firefighting equipment. There are two methods which can be adopted, the water method and the sand method. Let's take the water method first. This depends on your having a pump, either one of the officially recommended stirrup pumps, or else one of the similar hand pumps now on the market. Make absolutely sure that the nozzle on the hose of the pump is fitted with both a spray and a jet device. One of these pumps, a couple of pails of water, and a small tub or foot bath kept permanently filled in reserve, and you are well equipped to deal with the firebomb.
Wouldn't a garden hose do the trick?
Yes and no. It's quite effective if it has a very fine spray attachment on the nozzle, but, and this is a very important but, you may find a hose quite useless on account of lack of water pressure. You see, the firefighting services will be using such a volume of water that the domestic supplies will be severely curtailed during the period of a raid.
And supposing we haven't got a pump?
Then you have to adopt the sand method. This requires water just the same. But instead of using the pump for dealing with the bomb, you use sand. Dry sand. You want one bucket full and a Red Hill container about half full. If you haven't got a Red Hill container, another bucket about half full of dry sand will serve fairly well. In addition to the sand, you should have a long-handled scoop and hoe. Specially designed ones are available, but failing these, it's a good idea to make yourself a scoop by fixing a shovel firmly on the end of a pole 5 or 6 feet long. As far as the hoe is concerned, an ordinary garden hoe or rake is quite effective.
I suppose we ought to keep these things indoors.
Certainly. For one thing, it's essential that the sand is perfectly dry. And besides that, your firefighting equipment must be handy. Put it in the bathroom or the spare room in the ordinary way. Then, when there's an air raid warning, have it ready, say, on the landing upstairs, Oh, and there's another very important point. Before you settle down in your shelter or refuge room, shut all the doors and windows. A closed door will often keep a fire in check for hours. And lastly, to complete your outfit, you can do with a pair of dark glass goggles to protect your eyes. Glass, mind you, not some inflammable material. Also an electric torch. So much for your preparations. But remember, to be prepared is half the battle. The chances are you will never have to tackle an incendiary bomb. But if one does arrive, you're all ready to deal with it. Like this.